Hi, I'm Scott from Lew'S. One of the styles of fishing I like to do is bait finesse. So here are 5 tips for casting light lures with a baitcaster. So an important thing to remember when you're fishing lighter lures is how to cast them properly without getting a bird's nest. Me personally, I prefer an underarm or a side cast in a smooth motion and just let that lure travel its course, rather than as you would use with a conventional spinning rod, an overarm cast, which 9 times out of 10 you'll end up with a bird's nest. So the tip is nice and smooth, cast from the side. So a great tip for feeling and registering bites when fishing a baitcaster, and I suppose one of the benefits of using a baitcaster is being able to feel the line whilst you're fishing the lure. So I find that having the sense of touch and feeling of the braid on my fingers while that lure's working through the water, it's another way of feeling for bites. You might get the slightest of plucks, and without feeling the braid you wouldn't know to strike it and you wouldn't land that fish, you wouldn't hook that fish. So the tip is keep your thumb on the braid for extra sensitivity. So another thing when fishing with a baitcaster, especially with light lures, is you want to use balanced tackle. And by that I mean you want a smaller baitcaster than you would normally use, obviously to fish big pike stuff. And obviously you want it to be balanced with the rod. You don't want a heavy stiff stick, you want something nice with a bit of give in the tip to be able to flick those lighter lures out. So the tip is, on this occasion, always fish with balanced tackle. So before you start fishing, what you want to do is set your baitcaster up to avoid overruns. So you can do this by using the button on the side of the baitcaster to adjust the tension on the spool. And what I do is I set it so that it's completely locked up, and then you can slowly allow that lure to drop. And what you want it to do is just hit the floor without over spooling. That way you know you've got the perfect setup of your baitcaster. If you don't set your baitcaster up correctly this way, what will happen is as soon as that lure hits the water, the spool carries on travelling, and it will result in the line over spooling, and you'll end up with a big bird's nest on your reel. You won't be able to fish. So that's the tip. Make sure you set your baitcaster up properly before starting to fish. So another important thing to practice when using a baitcaster is thumbing the spool just as the lure hits the water. And I do this yet again to avoid bird's nests. The last thing you want when fishing with a baitcaster is to end up with a load of line wrapped around your spool, because that means less time spent fishing and obviously less fish caught. So the tip is always thumb your line down as your lure lands in the water when using a baitcaster.